Hello and welcome back to Pattern Making with Let Morris. We're continuing with making the pattern for this dress. We've done the front already and we're going on to the back. So if you grab your tools, notepads and your paper, excuse me, you come along and we're going to continue. And here I've got on my paper, I've already traced off my block. This is the back section of the block. And I've got all the details on it, my darts. I've got the style line for the back here, which is the collar is coming quite low. But I haven't taken it as low as, you can see your bra. You've got to make sure you know where your bra is there and you bring it up a bit higher. Or you can take it down lower, just depends, but I'm leaving it there. And I've drawn the style line on for the neck, and I've gone back the same amount like I did when we did the front on the shoulders, because they have to be the same because they meet. And I've got my balance mark on my darts, and I've got the length, so I've marked on the straight line down to where I want the back neckline to come. But I don't want it to be dead straight. So halfway between there and there, I'm going to come in 1/8 of an inch, or a quarter rather, to like tighten it up in the back neck area. And I'm going to take off a quarter at that point here, so it's nice and firm at the back. So halfway between, which is there, I'm going to measure out a quarter, and I'm going to take it back into there. So it's slightly shaped now, my back neck. So I can take out that straight line that I've drawn on, and now it's slightly curved in there by a quarter, back to a quarter. I've made it tighten up a quarter there, and then I'm going to make it tighten up a quarter here as well in the waist, because I'm going to make this waist dart only 1 inch, and it's at the moment it's 1.5 inches wide. So I'm going to take off a quarter there into the waist at the center back here, which I've marked it, and a quarter from there. So all I do is just reshape it back into under the arm here, back into the waist, and take it out back into the hip. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to just take off the quarter that I've made the neck smaller into a quarter there, and then back out into the hip area onto there, so that we look like that. So I don't want that section there on it, and I don't want this section. So the in line is my new line, and I'm going to just reshape the dart, because I'm taking a quarter from there and a quarter, and I reshape the dart in to those points that I've, and take it back to there, and do the same thing on the other side, back into there, back into there. So I don't want those outside line anymore. I'll just put a mark on them. So once I've got that, all I'm going to do on a new sheet of paper now, I'm going to make the pattern so that I can put my seam allowance. And I've also put 2 notches where the zip is going to finish or start, and I've also put a mark where I want the flounce go day to be. So I've got those little marks. So on my new sheet of paper, I'm going to trace this off. I'll copy it off on a new sheet of paper, all the new lines that I'm going to be using. So the bottom is fine. I haven't touched that. I'm going to come up to there, and I'm going to start to mark from there all the way around to the shoulders, on the shoulders to there, where I want that point. And I'm going to come up to that point there. I'm going to put these 2 little notches in for the zip, and we're going to put one in. And then with my tracing wheel, I'm going to trace off the new line that I'm now going to use back to there. I'm going to put a little notch in there, and I'm going to go and shape the neckline slightly curved now down back into there. And I'm going to just transfer my new dart now onto my new sheet of paper into there like that, so that I can connect them up. And then I'm just going to reshape this new line here now that I've got down to there, and also put my balance mark in for my in my armhole for the sleeves. So I'm going to make sure that I've got everything that I need on, and then I'm going to mark everything off. I'm going to put that dart in there, the balance mark in there, and I'm going to just take that pattern off now, which is my draft, and then I'm going to connect up these lines here that I've got, these new lines here, here, around here, and down into my hips that I've traced off. And I'm also going to put my new dart shape in, my new dart position rather, because they're now smaller than on my draft, like that. So these are my new darts shape. They're smaller than on the block, and all I do is just transfer these lines on my neckline and up my side or down my side here. Make sure you get nice lines. You follow them around your hip area all the way down. So that's the new shape we've got on there now, and I've got my balance mark in. I've got all the notches that I need on there. So once I've got that, I'm just going to create my grain line on, which is parallel to this line here, this straight line that I've got here. So I'm just going to put a straight line along here for my grain line, and I'm going to just put the grain line on it. Let's just rub that out so we get a nice smooth line on here, straight smooth line. And now all I do is to add my seam allowance on, and then check them out to see that they match with the front. So it's 1 centimeter on there, centimeter down here. So you just draw them in. So we get smooth line. These are your seam allowance here that we draw in. Make sure we've got a nice smooth line at the bottom before we add the seam on. And then we just add, we're only going to put 1 centimeter on here again for there. And we only need a 1/4 of an inch around the neck, because that's where our collar's going to go. And I like to put halfway between there and there, I put a balance notch. And then when we create the collar, we've got to have a notch to correspond with that one. So it helps us to machine and put it back together. So we've got 1 centimeter around there. And then we've got 1 centimeter up the side. And once we've done that, you just got to make sure that everything fits before we cut out the pattern pieces. So we never cut up our draft or our blocks. We can always go back to it if we find that something's not fitting, or we forgot to do something. So it's so important that we've got a block to work from when we're making our patterns, to make sure that we get nice fits as we're doing our pattern work. So that goes into there and gives a nice shape, and that one comes there. So now this is the back, and we're going to cut 2 of those, and then we just check to make sure the shoulders on the side front matches here, and that is spot on exactly. So we're ready to cut, and we check and make sure that the side seam are matching. And we've got a balance mark there, that matches there. We've got the waist matches, and that's exactly on the side. So we know that's safe, we're ready. And all we do is just come back a 3/4 or 1/2 inch for our darts position to put a hole so we run off. So that is the back section of our dress. So the next thing we have to do is to create the facings, the back neck facings. And what it is, which I just want to show you, let me cut out the back neck here, and you can see how we create the facing, and then we can go on to the godé. So once we've got that, so all we do is on another sheet of paper, we've got to mark around the neckline, and we've got to keep it, whether we make it 2 inches or 2.5, the width of the facing, we've got to keep it the same as we do for the front. So basically what it is on another sheet of paper, what we do is we've got one here, which I've already done. So just to show you, on another sheet of paper, we just place the back onto a new sheet of paper like that. And then what I've done is, there's your back neck facing. It goes onto here like that. And we have our back neck facing that we've got like that. It fits onto here, but I'll just show you. We mark around, this is how you arrive at it. You mark around across a little bit of the shoulder, down the center back, and then you've got to put that balance mark in, and then you take your pattern away, and then you just measure from that point 2 inches, because you don't want a very deep facing, and you just take that all the way down, all the way around like that. You know you've got your grain line on here already, you just mark it in. So this is your back neck facing, and we're going to cut 2 plus fuse. So that is your back neck facing, and then you cut that shape out. And then this is what we do the front. You fold your paper like that, and you place that on the fold edge, and you get the side front, and you place that on the, you put seam to seam on there like that. Make sure that the lines are on seam to seam like that, touching the neck point. And once again, you do exactly the same thing. You mark around the front neck, along the shoulders like that, and you can move your pattern piece away. And with your back facing, which is that piece, you make sure that they're the same at the shoulders, and you put a mark, and you just take that, all the way around, the same amount, all the way till you come to the front. So this is now your front neck facing, and you're going to cut one of those plus a fuse, and your center grain goes onto that line. That's your grain line, okay, on the center. And then you cut out. So once you cut those out, these are your facings, and if you just open that, you'll see that's your front and that's your back facing. You cut one of these and 2 of those plus fusing. So those are the facing pieces that you need for your garment. So the next thing we do is to do the godé for your skirt. So this is the godé, or the flounce that we have in the back. We're going to make it longer in the actual center, and we're going to keep it the same on the side bits. So this is what we do. We're going to measure whatever this position is here, from here to here without the seam, like that. Whatever that measurement is, we're going to apply it onto a fold edge of paper. So we fold the paper like that, and we're going to measure whatever that measurement is. I'm just going to put that up to there so that we've got it. So it's from here. So I'm just going to put a mark, and it's to here. This is without the seam, because we add the seam after. So that's roughly. So we're going to start use it from that point here. So from there, we're going to use that measurement, and we're going to take it all the way as far as we can go. So we're going to go like that. We make sure this is what we're going to pivot it. So we're going to keep it at that point with my pencil in. You hold it firmly, and as you pivot it out, you're going to keep it all the way around the same measurements, right? So if we leave that onto there, we hold it and we pivot that round, and as we pivot, we mark, we pivot, making sure that our tape measure is touching there, and we go out and we go right around as far as we can with that, and I'll take it to there. You can go around more if you want, or you can make it up to here and then slash and open out. So I'm going to now connect those two lines together, that one here. This is the very important line here. So once we've got that, you just put your ruler on and you connect that line like that, and we're going to just make our seam allowance on that, which is 1 centimeter, like that. So from that point here, we're going to drop it down 2 inches or 1.5 inches, 3 inches, depends on how longer you want it to be in the actual center. So I'm going to take mine down a couple of inches. So I'm going to take it down to there, and from that point we're going to go around, we're going to take it around to that. Make sure it's not going to a point, we're getting a nice curve, and if you're not good at curving, you use your curve. So this is the shape that we want. It's the same distance here as on the actual skirt dress that we have, from that point to that point. And then we just add our seam allowance. So you make sure you've got a nice curve around, make sure that's nice and curved, and then we're going to add 1 centimeter seam around the hem like that, because we're just going to stitch it. So once we've got that, that is our godé, and we're going to cut one of those, and as we cut it and open it out, we put the grain line in the center. So we cut along that line like that. Before we cut the bottom, you have to check to make sure that it fits into your actual dress at the center back. So I'm just going to cut along the hem there, and I'm going to lay that on there to make sure. So with my pencil, I'm going to put that, because that's your notch, that's where it's going to come to, right to the edge of the fold, and I'm going to swing that round, and I'm going to make sure that it touches at the bottom there. So let's take that away so that we can see. So it's touching there. So this is where it's going to come, from there to there. So then we just make sure that that is the notch that we want, because it's fitting onto there, and that is the godé that we want. So we then cut out the shape. We then cut out this shape that we've got here. We can make it fuller if you want. If you so want to make it fuller, you can. You can slash, put a line through there and slash and open it out some more. But I don't want to open it out anymore. So that is the shape that I have for my godé. And as you can see, it's longer with that point in the center than it is at these points here, right? Because that's what we design and that's what we want. It doesn't have to be like that. You can keep it all the same if you want. So that is now your grain line on here. That is your grain line, and we're going to cut one of those. So that is the godé that we need for this dress. So that goes into the back of your dress, the center back seam. It's stitched into there, and if you're not sure, you need help on how to stitch that in, you can always message me or write a comment and we will get back to you. So that is your back pattern. You've got all your notches in, your notches that you need, side balance mark, you've got your zip position, and this is the top one is your notch for the godé. So that's stitched into that like that, and it folds back when it's draped. It's cut into the fabric. At the moment, because it's paper, you can't see. So those are the pieces that you need for the back. You've got your darting and you've got your go days. So the next thing we're going to do now is to go on to the sleeve. So I'm going to break here as well, and we're going to come back and we're going to go on to the sleeve. So that is where we're at the moment. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share, to comment, and to subscribe. We'll be back shortly with doing the sleeve. Bye.